Good morning. We're a little late because I was busy setting an appointment and handling stuff, but it's good to see y'all. So, today I wanted to talk to you guys about coachability. And why is coachability so important? How many of you have ever felt, I know better? You think that you know better than your coach, or that feels weird, or that's scary to me? So, coachability, right? I get asked this question a lot. People will say to me, how do you blindly follow Aaron in everything Aaron tells you to do? Well, first, it starts with trust. So, the person that you choose to be your coach is very important because you have to trust them implicitly. If you kind of trust them, not really sure, gonna try it out, you're not going to do the things that they advise you to do to help you get better. You're always going to have that, I'm not so sure feeling. So when you choose a coach, you want to start by ensuring that you really trust that they can help you and that they have your best interest in heart or in mind. And then the next thing you want to think about is if you knew everything and you didn't need help or you just refuse to be scared, how are you going to get anywhere? Right? So when I get asked this a lot, even by top producers, they'll say to me, you blindly do everything your coach tells you to do. Do you not think for yourself? And they're almost offended by the fact that whatever it is Aaron tells me to do, I always do it. They'll say to me things like, can't you think for yourself? It's not about you not being smart or you not being capable. It's about if what you are doing is working, you wouldn't be looking for a coach. If, right? If what you are doing and what you know and the skills you already have are enough, you wouldn't even be looking for a coach. So if you're somebody who's looking to get better and you're thinking about getting into coaching, here's how you can really maximize what you're doing. And I want to share with you why this is so important. So, some of you may or may not know, I was raised by a professional sports coach. Growing up, my mother was a commuter. Anyone from New Jersey remember the slouch socks commuters? My mom used to take the bus into Manhattan, so I didn't really spend much time with her. She was out of the house by 5:30 every morning and got home usually around 8:30. So it was my dad that really took care of me. And my dad was a coach at Seton Hall at the time, Seton Hall University. And I spent a lot of my time with my dad. He would take me to school, pick me up after school, and I would sit there and watch him coach his team. And what I learned from this experience as a little kid, as someone, kids are very honest, right? Kids will tell you, hey, you've been hitting the donuts. Like we may feel our pants a little tight, but when kids tell us like you got a little fat, kids always tell the truth. And something I recognized watching my father as a professional coach at Seton Hall University when I was a kid, he would get really talented kids, and I'm not calling anyone out. Please don't think I'm talking about anyone specifically. I would watch kids that were very talented. I mean, hit the ball a mile, could pitch faster than anyone else in their high school. And what would happen when they would get to this college level? If they weren't coachable, they typically didn't make it at the college level, unless they were just so talented. They were just a phenom. But even some of those kids that were really talented, they couldn't make the transition from being great in high school to being great in college. They kind of stayed stuck at that level. And this made an impression on me because what I realized is this is no different for us as entrepreneurs, as business people, and as adults. If we come into a situation thinking that we're the best, we know it all, nobody can teach us, we don't make it to the next level, right? So, like, if you just want to be a thousandaire and that's cool for you, then don't get into coaching. Don't seek somebody out who can help you. You can be just like my dad's players who said, I already know how to hit. Don't teach me. And some of those girls, they never learned how to hit a rise ball, so they never got to play in college anymore. They never added new skills that they needed to play at the next level. And that's the issue with a lot of entrepreneurs. We never learn the skills that we need to play at the next level because we're so inflated with ourselves that we think we got it all covered. We know everything. Oh, we're the best. We're the best that's ever sold real estate. We're the best that's ever did it, right? But you're only the best in high school, babe. You're not going to play at the college level, and you're not going to the pros because you don't know how to hit a rise ball. You can't see the curveball coming. All you know how to do is hit 300-foot fastballs. So once you start facing a pitcher that can throw a little bit of movement, you're done. You're struck out every single time. And I know I'm talking about softball, baseball, but how does this translate to us as entrepreneurs? Right now, we're in a bad market. Well, I don't want to say bad market. Right now, we are in a market with less transactions. Highly skilled agents are making more money than ever. And the problem for a lot of agents right now is you don't know how to transition. The only thing that you know how to do is sit at an open house with your name badge on and go, hi, oh my God, did you like it? I like it too. Isn't it cute? Oh my God, the paint's amazing, right? What about the pool? And you're wondering why am I not making any money? You see, that realtor made great money in 2020 because we had 6.2 million transactions in the country. If you showed up, you were going to make money. But today in 2025, when we're only doing, I think as a country last year, we did about 4 million transactions, 3.8, I think I was told total. So about half of what we did in 2020. You're probably having trouble making money right now because you don't have the skills to help buyers and sellers with what they need right now. So what are some skills that you can acquire today? Number one, if you're going to make it in today's market, you have to learn how to negotiate, and you have to learn how to provide enough value that someone decides to take money out of their pocket and give it to you. How do you do that? If you're not already in coaching, I strongly suggest you get a coach. For me to teach you on a 20-minute live, it's not going to happen. What you need is someone who can help you. You need to learn how to attract clients, convert, and deliver exceptional service. Some skills that you need today in order to get paid as a realtor: you have to learn creative finance. You have to learn what a short sale is. You have to learn other skills than just sticking a sign in the yard and praying that it's going to sell. Majority of the sellers that we're talking to in today's market, these are people who have to sell for financial reasons. They don't have a choice, because if they did, they wouldn't be selling their home for less than what they paid for it. The sellers today that you're going to meet who have a high motivation typically have a high problem as well. So how can you become more skilled to help these folks? Get into a group that understands wholesaling, novations. Start networking with folks who purchase these types of properties. Understand what it is that I'm talking about by educating yourself. And you're going to have to learn how to service the client in those needs. If the only thing you know how to do is call somebody and say, hey, I noticed that your home came off the market. You were looking for $350. Is it still a priority to get the home sold? And that person tells you, well, I owe $330 and we couldn't sell it for $350. The majority of you, and I'm not picking on anyone, I'm just simply stating what's true, you hang up the phone because you don't know how to help them. So you're going to have to learn other solutions that you can provide to these sellers that both get you paid and get the seller out of this problem. Again, this is only a 20-minute Zoom, so I'm not going to teach you all of those things, but you can start doing your own research. You can hire a coach, and we can talk about it in one of our private groups if that's something you'd like to learn more about. If you're servicing buyers right now have a lot of options available to them. The value that you can give to a buyer is helping them to make a decision on a property that's going to appreciate well long term. I'm typically getting buyers rep signed at 4%. And I want you guys to understand this. For someone who's looking at $1 million property to take $40,000 out of their bank account to pay me, do you think that they see a high level of value in the skills I'm going to provide them, in the experience that they're going to get working with me? This isn't like a seller. A seller gets paid at closing. They don't really feel the commission. A buyer is physically going to take money out of their bank account and pay me for helping them. So how do we get a 4% buyer's rep signed in today's market? I'm going to share with you how. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to talk to them about what is value? How is value created for a property? A lot of people that you're working with, they're just going to want to go and see fancy homes. They want to get the most home for the least amount of money. But you might know, as the local professional, is this area underwater, right? So for example, here in Texas, we know that a buyer can go and look at areas like Forney, like Princeton, like Argyle, and they're going to get a heck of a deal on a really nice home. Here's the problem for those buyers. They're not going to be able to sell that home for minimum 5 years. If they need to move for any reason next year, the year after that, whether they lose their job, whether they're getting a divorce, whether they're relocating for work, that home is going to be underwater. It's going to be worth less than what they paid for it. And why is that? It's because these are areas where builders are still building. And builders have the ability to do something that resale sellers cannot. Builders have preferred lenders. They have a lot of tools that they can say to a buyer, hey, we're going to pay your closing costs. We're going to give you a rate buy down. So now this brand new home that's perhaps priced at $500,000 with no closing costs out of pocket for the buyer with a rate buy down, that brand new home becomes more affordable than, say, a $400,000 home on resale. So these are some of the problems that those communities are facing. And your buyer is typically not going to understand that. So that is a value that you can bring to a transaction to a buyer, because they may not see these things. All they see is shiny counters, pretty floors, and a price they can afford. So this is one value you can give them. Here's another value you can give them. So the first was resale, right? Resaleability. The second is going to be latent defects. If you are a local expert, you should be going to the local zoning and board meetings. And this is a way that you can prevent buyers from making very costly mistakes. So what do I mean by this? Well, when I was working in New Jersey, one of the nicest new things, they were offering 5% to buyers agents. They had beautiful amenities. All the buyers wanted to be there. I had a young couple with 2 young kids. They found the perfect corner unit. And unfortunately, even though I wanted to make my 5% of 1.2 million, which is a lot of money back then, I didn't have 2 wooden nickels to rub together. I happened to sit on a zoning meeting where I found out that right across the street, hi, good morning, Green. Right across the street from where this building is, a booby bar. I don't know what the proper word for it is. A topless establishment was going to be going into the space that was there. And with that is going to come, obviously, traffic, parking, a lot of noise, probably noise number one, and maybe some different vibes that a young family wouldn't be looking for. So while I wanted to sell this property, I had to tell my buyers what was going on and what was approved. Let me tell you something about how much that meant to these buyers. Not only did they save themselves from the problem of purchasing a unit that they could practically never resell, because it's going to be very difficult to resell a condo that's like hanging over a strip club. They also sent me tons of friends to to list their properties and to help them buy after that. So the second value that you can give to your clients as the hyper local expert is you should know zoning changes, businesses that are coming to the area, changes to road developments that will affect traffic, changes to the school district that will affect schools. You having this knowledge and being able to prevent a buyer from making a mistake, that is worth every penny that you are charging them. Any any buyer or anyone that's ever had a situation like that is going to be so grateful that they found you, because there is somebody that you know or somebody that your client knows that has bought a lemon. Either that property cannot be resold because there's an issue with the area, or that property is in a bad location and they're dying to get out and they made a mistake. A good buyer's agent can help prevent these issues for a buyer, and buyers will pay you money for that. It is worth it to them. So number one is resale. Number two is latent defects. What do you guys think number three is? What's the third reason why buyers will pay you 4% to represent them? Location. There should be things that you understand about a location, if you're the hyper local expert, that buyers may not understand. And this is especially crucial for people relocating. Hey, can y'all drop like a clap or something if you can hear me? I'm getting feedback in my mic. Are y'all having any issue hearing me? All right, looks like y'all can hear me. Okay, perfect. I have feedback in my mic, so if you have any trouble, just let me know. So the third reason why a buyer would sign a 4% with you, the first is resaleability, the second is latent defects, and then the third is going to be bad location. There's going to be certain things that you understand about a location that especially relocation buyers do not. For example, every area has some sort of issue like this. For us here in North Texas, there is a road called the 380 that has significant traffic problems. The area grew faster than the infrastructure did, and it can take you literally, I'm not even joking, guys, 30 minutes to go less than a mile on 380. 380 is so bad that people who bought homes in 2020 to 2023, anyone from Texas can give a heart on this because they've probably dealt with it. A lot of these people have ditched these properties. The traffic is so bad, selling them for less than what they paid for them, because this is a defect of the area. Now, if you're a buyer's agent and you're good at your job, you should be able to explain these little nuances to buyers that can prevent them from losing a lot of money in the long run. So what are some other examples of that? Some of you might be dealing with golf country club communities. So oftentimes, and same thing with like Holden Beach, North Carolina, I noticed this. If you have one side of the street that's on the ocean and the other side that's on the bay, it could mean millions of dollars of difference. And buyers don't always understand that. They think, oh my God, this is such a nice house and it's on the bay side and I can afford it. But then they have a lot of trouble reselling it because everybody wants to be oceanside. So a lot of the nuances having to do with particular locations, as a hyper local expert, you being able to communicate these differences to your buyers can save them thousands, if not hundreds of thousands in the long run. And this is another reason why you are worth paying you 4%. So again, the three reasons why your buyers should be signing 4% buyers reps with you. Number one is your ability to help them resale. Number two is your ability to help them prevent latent defects that would affect the price of their home and the appreciation of their home. Number three is to prevent them from buying in locations that have latent problems and would prevent them from being able to resell that home. Some other things that you guys should get good at over time. If you're in the Northeast, the minute you walk in that house, you should know if there's a flood sump pump problem. Your nose should start to get real good at that. These are some problems that some buyers, they just don't really recognize, especially if they're seeing a lot of homes and this one's really pretty and it was really nicely rehabbed. You know, some of those homes that are really old up in the Northeast, I'm from New Jersey. Once you start tearing down walls, you find, holy smokes, Hurricane Sandy left black mold in here. Not only is this going to cost a ton of money to remediate and repair this property, your family might have been living in black mold. They now have lung issues. So that's another value that you as a buyer's agent can bring to a transaction. Get really good at being able to spot, smell, and see latent defects in a home that buyers may not recognize. Some issues like out in California, they have earthquakes. They have some areas where earthquakes happen kind of a lot. And if you don't know how to spot foundation quick fixes, your client could be buying a property with some significant foundation issues that even the inspector sometimes misses. Yes, sometimes inspectors miss foundation problems. Sometimes they miss leaks. Sometimes they miss roof problems. You, as an experienced agent, should be able to spot these things and prevent your buyer from making a huge, costly mistake that could also affect their health. Once you guys really learn how to communicate all of these things that you can do for buyers, do you really think anyone's going to argue with you about paying you 4%? If their kids have asthma and you show them actual examples of homes you prevented other people from buying that later you guys found out there was black mold in there, do you think your client is going to argue with you about giving you 4%? I mean, any parent on this thing is probably going to say, absolutely not. They'll pay for that. It's a big deal. So again, if you're a buyer's agent, the true value you bring to the deal is helping buyers identify problems, All right. I think it should be working now. Can you hear me now? I feel like a bad commercial, a bad Verizon commercial right now. Let's see. Settings. We're going to go to audio. It looks like it's working fine. Okay, great. So your showing assistant, like I said, it's they should be very professional. And what I'm saying is like, don't be friendly. Of course, you should be friendly with your clients. But really, a number one mistake I see a lot of agents doing is like you verbally vomit about your life and everything going on, and then the client starts to feel uncomfortable. They're like, "We don't give a shit. You're fighting with your husband." So really, stop writing with your clients. It gets a little awkward sometimes. If you are in an area where parking is an issue or it's highly condensed, and they're at a higher price point, just put them in a private car. You can rent a car for the day and have them get their own chauffeur, but don't go in the car with them. And your showing assistant, ensure that you have trained them to understand what you do and don't want happening for your clients so they know how to serve your clients the way you want them to be served. Again, you're not going to go and open doors until your clients have narrowed down to 2 to 3 homes that they want to make an offer on. So if you have clients that tell you, hey, I want to see 20 homes before I make an offer, let them do that, but let them do it with a showing assistant. This is not an effective use of your time, nor is it an effective use of their time. What they are really paying you for is, like I said earlier, you want to help them identify areas that are going to resell well. You're going to help them to identify homes that do not have latent defects that maybe they don't understand. And those latent defects can be both the structure, integrity of the property, or it could be the area that they're looking at. That is your true value to buyers. And then ultimately, the most important thing is that you get them the house at the best price you can. Now, I'm not telling you to ask sellers for consent, like everything under the sun, if you know there's multiple offers, because you're not going to get the deal. Your job in negotiating is to find out, is there more than one offer on the table? You should be asking the seller agent enough questions to get an idea of how much you can push or not push on this property, and then providing your buyer with a strategy that they can feel comfortable with. Too often, I see buyer's agents thinking that they're being a hero and asking for big discounts and negotiating as hard as they can. And the buyer is like, bro, I just wanted the house. So make sure you're not doing that. You really want to talk to the buyer about what is the amount you're willing to pay for this property. At what point do you walk away? Right now, it's listed at 700,000. I know you want to make an offer at 600. It's been on the market for 120 days. While that does seem a little low, I spoke to the seller's agent and they said they're open to any offer. So we can put that offer in. But just so I know, in our negotiating strategy, at what point and what number do you walk away from this house? And if your client says, hey, I'm even willing to pay 700, don't lose the house for them by being an asshole to the seller's agent. And again, this is sometimes buyers agents, they think they're helping their clients, but they're not. You always catch more bees with honey. Talk to the seller's agent about what's really important to the seller. Sometimes sellers agents are going to tell you the truth. I know I do. Some sellers, time is more important than money. Some sellers agents will tell you, you know what, I think they would give you a discount if you can close in 14 days. Okay, that's where your opportunity lies. So you really want to talk to them before putting your strategy together to get a temperature of what you can and cannot do and what the seller is looking for. And again, you really want to be very easy to work with. The easier you are to work with, the more the seller the seller's agent wants your offer accepted. If you're rude to the seller's agent, if you're bitchy, if you're like overly negotiating, they're not going to want to work with you. They're not going to fight for your buyer's offer to be chosen. It's always in your best interest to be as kind and helpful to the seller's agent as you possibly can, and to demonstrate to them how easy to work with you're going to be. One of the ways that I like to do that for clients is whatever offer we solidify, let's stick to that offer. And I know a lot of you are about to hang up the phone, throw tomatoes. You're not going to like this. If you think that a good strategy is getting a property under contract and then negotiating the price down later, this is not good. Nobody likes that. No seller likes that. No seller's agent likes it. Truthfully, if this is how you're behaving, you're putting yourself on a lot of blacklists. And seller's agents talk. Oh, you know that Mark Fuller. Mark, I'm just kidding. I know you don't do this. That Mark Fuller, you don't want to take his offers. He came in at 500. My seller was so excited. We got the inspection report and it was all nickel and dime items. But they said if we don't reduce by 30 grand, they're going to walk. My client didn't have any other offers, so we had to do something. That guy's a real jerk. I'd never work with him again. This is exactly what you don't want to do. If you are using the inspection period as your second negotiation, you are going to have a hard time long-term in this business. You're going to start putting yourself on a lot of blacklists of great listing agents. And great listing agents talk because there's really only a handful of us in any given marketplace. Instead, what you can do is talk to your client. And I think a lot of buyers really appreciate this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, let's talk about strategy. So the way that we like to structure deals so that sellers know we're not playing games and they can see how serious we are is we like to provide a short inspection period so you have enough time to get an inspection. And we also like to provide them with a non-refundable deposit to show them that we're committed to closing on this deal. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, that's bullshit. You wouldn't do that. Actually, I do. Every home I've ever bought, I have decided before I even made the offer, what is the most I'm going to pay? What do I see as a good deal for this home? How do I show the seller of the property that I'm committed to closing? And the way I have always structured my offers is I do a short period for inspection just so I can know, does the roof need to be fixed? Is there a foundation problem? Is there some issue I'm not seeing here? And I give them $1,000 non-refundable deposit so that they know I'm committed to closing on this sale and I'm not playing games with them. And this, if you structure more deals that way, you can actually get better discounts because a lot of sellers are going to be willing to give, especially in these markets, if they know they have a serious buyer, they're generally willing to give a little bit of a discount because they'd rather a sure thing than something that may or may not work, something that may be great and could be fake. So if you start structuring your deals to eliminate that secondary negotiating period, you are going to get more offers accepted. You're going to have better relationships with sellers' agents. And your clients, the other thing is that your clients are also going to understand this. Your buyers should not be thinking of the inspection period as their second opportunity to negotiate. That's not what it is. The inspection period is truly what it is. It's your opportunity to see, is there a problem with this house? And if there is something serious, I will walk away. It's to really just check that everything is as you expect it. And the more you do that, the more your deals are going to go through and you won't have to go back to the drawing board again. Again, I know that that's probably scary for some agents. You probably think, oh, come on, that's not real. It's how I do every single deal for myself and for the buyers I work with. That inspection period is not a second negotiation strategy. It is an inspection period. Appraisal. So appraisal is going to be your last hurdle in the deal. Appraisal is going to be different in different markets. Hey, Tip. So in today's market, the truth is, if the property doesn't appraise, 9 out of 10 times, the seller has to lower the price because there's not a long line of buyers waiting for a lot of homes right now. If we were in a pandemic market like 2020, 2021, that's going to be very different. If a property doesn't appraise, oh well, we'll find a better buyer. No biggie. So the way that you handle appraisal and counseling your clients is going to be specific to the market that you're in. The market that we are in right now here in Texas, I'm going to counsel both sides that if the home doesn't appraise, we are going to have to do something. If it's my seller, we're going to have to find a common ground with the buyer that makes sense for both of you. If it's my buyer, I'm probably going to ask the seller to just come down to appraisal price. And if the seller really kicks and screams and wants to not do it, then we'll find some sort of common ground. Right now, we are in a buyer's market. So if you're working for buyers, you should be helping them to get that discount in today's market. Again, these are all things that make you worth paying 4%. I hope you guys have gotten a lot of value from today. I do have to go out and get back to work. I've enjoyed going live with you every morning. My intention is to help realtors to do more deals. I am at this point starting to build an organization in different marketplaces. So if you're considering partnering with eXp and you would like to work with me one-on-one, I am more than happy to talk to you about what that would look like. The people that I am looking for are people who are hungry, people who love to prospect, and people who see themselves as leaders. The people I am not going to entertain are those looking for leads, entitled, or feel you know it all. So if you are hungry, if you see yourself as a leader and you want to grow, I'd love to get to know you better. Good luck, everybody, and go make some deals happen.